Hey y'all, it's Megan. Welcome back to the channel. Glad y'all are here today. In today's video, come spend a little time with me today. I'm going to be showing y'all, at least that I know of, how to make fig preserves and how I make my fried pear pies. Man, I make my fried pies a little different than what you may see, but I found an easy way to do it and it is delicious. But anyways, let's get us some figs picked first. Just gotta watch them for ants. That one's got a little green fell on it. Go on. That looks good. Now we're almost too cold here in the wintertime to have a fig tree. You see mostly a lot of these down south, but I stuck my hand in one that was way too ripe. Oops. But every once in a while, it's just like the peach tree, we'll have a good year and actually get us some figs. So I'm looking for pretty well ripe ones, the darker brown ones, for my preserves. And see, I can't reach them that's way up in there. I guess I'll just let the ants have those. Yep, that's got ant holes on it. And got bees sitting on it. I ain't gonna grab that one. So y'all, we've really been blessed this year with a good fruit year. We really have. And the thing with fruit is, especially if you live in the kind of climate we do here, man, you take it as it comes because more years than not, you don't get any fruit. Just because of the cold and frost and everything else. But this year we've been blessed with peaches, pears, figs, grapes. The muscadine vine down there is full. They ain't quite ripe yet, but it's full. There's a big old hornet over there flying on them. He better stay on somewhere. And it's been wonderful. The only fruit that we had that really didn't do that great, which is amazing, is the blackberries. And I think that drought really took a number on them. I got me a pretty good little amount of figs here. That'll be enough to make us a little batch of preserves. I was scared I was gonna get stung. There was hornets out there flying around enjoying the fruit. A lot of them I let go too far because I haven't picked them in a couple of days, and that's on me. And that's what the bees are after, is the ones that are way too ripe. So what you're going to want to do now is cut the stems off of your figs. So your figs have your little stems on there. We're just going to cut that off. I've seen some recipes say peel them, some say don't. I didn't peel them when I made these the other day, and they were fine. I don't even know how you would peel those things, but anyways. The way that I'm going to show y'all today is not using any store-bought pectin. I've been trying to lean more towards that. I don't know, for no real reason other than just the satisfaction of doing it. Because I don't know, I got to thinking about it. Like after I made my strawberry jelly, I got to thinking about it. And I was like, you know, this stuff ain't always been around. And I know people been making jams and jellies forever and ever, amen. So I thought I would give it a try, and actually, it's not as hard as I thought it would be. It takes a little more time, takes a little more patience, and takes a little more observation. You really got to pay attention to your product. But it's all worked out for me so far anyway. That's about too ripe, but I think it's okay. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna cover these with a good layer of sugar. All right, we're gonna let these set at least an hour, let that sugar draw some of that moisture out, and then we'll get our preserves made. Now, this is the one thing that I have found that I really like about not using the store-bought pectin, which I know there's pectin that you can measure out for different measurements and all that, but like specifically the Sure Gel, because that's what I've always used. You gotta have a certain amount of fruit to be able to make your jams and jellies. When you're doing it this way, it's much more flexible. You can make one jar if you want to, you know. That right there was about 3 cups of sugar for those figs. I ain't worried about these that floated on the top. They're covered in sugar. The rest of them are pretty well covered. And like I said, we'll cover those and we're going to let them sit here for a little bit. Well, while we're letting those sit, me and the kids wandering around outside, and we wanted to give y'all a quick little update on Jacob's little bean plant.
We need tomatoes to pick.
Yep, I believe you got some tomatoes, little man.
Yeah.
Well, look at there. That's made you a pretty plant. What is this? This is a bean.
I don't know.
Where did that come from?
I think it may have come from because there was a bean plant right there, but it was done. So I pulled it up to plant that bean right there, and I threw it right there. I think it might have made it another plant.
Well, you got you a nice looking little bean plant there. You got some good looking corn.
And I gotta pull some weeds.
Yeah, them's got thorns on them though.
When's this corn gonna be ready? It got to turn brown because it's field corn.
Hey, look at there. I believe my cantaloupe's finally ready. I've been keeping my eye on that thing.
It wasn't. It must have just got ready today because it wasn't ready yesterday.
I know it wouldn't. I've been watching it every day.
Oh no!
But it looks good, Jacob.
The whole stalk got to turn brown, like our field corn up there.
Yep. And we'll see what it turns into.
Yeah. So this corn got here from when we used to have chickens in here. And when we threw corn, I guess they didn't get it and it planted it. But it wasn't this one. It was one for last year. And I guess that one dropped seeds and this one come up.
Yep.
And a lot of other little plants.
Sure did. It made some little ears there. Let me pick that cantaloupe. I'm glad we walked out here, Jacob.
Right there. Yeah.
Don't grab them. They got thorns on them.
Them thorns in the chicken?
It must have been ready though, because it just comes straight off the vine. I got it barely touched it. That's the biggest one we've done. Look at there.
Yeah, wait. The one we got started, the one in the chicken?
Yeah, go throw it to the chickens. They'll like that.
Yeah.
That was a good throw.
Chicken! Go get it.
Maybe it busted enough that they'll eat it.
They're like, what? We have not had it in a while. I don't think they know what it is right now. They're like, what?
We may have to bust it when we feed them this evening.
I like them squishy. Why the pear trees over it? Well, when these pear trees get bigger, they won't be here.
That one's pretty squishy, but see, these don't peel as good as another ones did.
Why don't we peel that one with a knife? Mama, you know what?
I'm gonna bite this one.
You know what?
Mm-hmm.
Like when these things get bigger, they'll be able to hold all the peaches.
Yeah, they always try to overload themselves for some reason.
Yeah.
What do you think?
They're kind of sour.
Yeah, I know. They ain't quite right. These must be some really late peaches is all I know.
That flew through the hole without even getting the mix. That's how good you are. Oh, that one's just cool, isn't it? That one's big.
Oh, that's pretty good. How did you hit the light? How did you get lucky enough that you just...
No, I went like this. Watch. Watch. I went.
thinking ahead today, but tonight for supper, I'm going to cook one of our little roasts in the crock pot. And so I'm going to go ahead and get that ready, and we're going to have us like some French dip sandwiches tonight. And it's a super simple way to do it, because pot roast is not something me and Andy care a lot about. I mean, it's okay, but and I've made the Mississippi roast and everything, and they're good too. But boy, they make a good sandwich. You can have all that delicious juice and everything in there. So I'm going to heat up my pan here with a little bacon grease, and we're going to brown our meat and put it in the crock pot till supper tonight. We're going to lay our roast just in our pan. We're going to let it get a little brown on each side, just a couple of minutes on each side. Alright, we've got it a little browned on every side. I've got enough water in the bottom of my crock pot to kind of cover the bottom, maybe about a ½ inch deep. And we're going to just set this in the crock pot. And we're going to just throw us a little salt in there. I mean, that's a big chunk of meat, so put quite a bit. Some black pepper. And some Worcestershire sauce. And a little splash of apple cider vinegar. That was probably more than a splash, but it's fine. And so we usually eat supper around 5, 6 o'clock. So I'll just let this cook till we're ready to eat on low. They seem to do best on low, but you can do it on high too. But since I got plenty of time, I'm gonna let it go on low. All right, y'all, let's get started on our fig preserves. I actually let them sit for like 2 hours, but it's fine. So we're gonna go ahead and pour these in, sugar and all, just into our pot here. We're going to let this now come up to a simmer, and then we'll put it back on low heat and let it cook for around 1.5 to 2 hours. So we've come to a good simmer here. I'm going to scoot this back on a cooler eye, and we'll let it just simmer on low. So it's been about 1.5 hours, and last time I did these, it took it about 2 hours. This time it's getting thick right at 1.5 hours, and I think it's because I have about half of what I fixed the other day. So I'm going to show y'all what this looks like. So see there? And it has gotten pretty thick. So it's ready for our jars. When you're making jams and jellies, be sure, like I'm going to go ahead and get this washed up, because if not, it will set up like a rock and it will not be fun. Hot. Hot, hot, hot. And that right there ain't enough where my jar ain't full, and I just know from experience I'll end up getting some mold in this jar if I try to can it with it only half full like that. So I'll set that in the fridge. I'm going to let it sit here and cool a little bit, and I'll set that in the refrigerator, and we'll just eat on it now instead of putting it up for later. We put our garlic down here after we harvested it here a while back, and I've just kind of left it in here, letting it dry out, cure real good. So now I'm just going to go through, and I'm going to show y'all what I do. I usually keep this in the house, It's gonna be nice and hot in here. I may have to like take a handful outside because we're down here in my greenhouse. But what I do with my garlic is I cut it about right there, like that, and store it just like that. I'm still using some garlic from last year. Some of it's dried up to nothing, but I'm still using some of it. If you want to help me. You gonna take it out?
Yeah.
Well, the good thing about working in there is you feel like you come out in the air condition.
It does feel a lot cooler out.
Did you work hard today?
Yeah, but we got done.
Hard enough, right?
Hard enough. I guess we got done enough.
Yeah.
Worked hard enough and we got done enough.
I don't believe that is no count. Still of it.
It don't look it. No.
I don't think so either.
Could have picked a cooler spot to put this garlic.
I ain't the one to throw it out here.
Right here in the dead sun.
But we had, what is them flies called?
Allium.
It got in our
Allium
onions
fly.
last year and we didn't know what it was. Well, this year it got the garlic and the onions.
Yeah, I think that one's good.
And so some of this garlic ain't no count, but we still thought we'd give it a chance. But you can see this one right here, there's nothing there. And we've done found several like that.
Most of the bigger ones are that way.
Yeah,
but
it's the big ones.
so far, the only ones I've seen that are good are the medium size to small.
Yep.
Like, is that one good? It feels all right, don't it?
Yeah, and it's got cloves. See, these ones that are bad, you can't even see no cloves in them.
You cutting the roots off?
No.
Why? I thought you were supposed to.
I mean, it looks nicer, but it's pointless.
That's what I was cutting them off.
You know how I am.
A minimalist, ain't you?
That's right.
I don't believe that's no good.
Make it as easy as possible. It looks prettier without the roots, but it ain't gonna make it keep no better. I didn't cut none of that roots off none of that last year.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I thought we did.
No, I still got some on roots that look like that.
I don't believe that's no good.
Well, I mean, the good thing is we still got a plenty to last us till next year.
So from last year.
Well,
got a
some
lot
of
left from
yeah,
last year, ain't
some of that I need to go through it because some of it's like drying up. I'm still using it. Like I used it. I used some here the other day,
Well,
and it was last year's garlic.
I do think this time, when it'll be time to plant it before too long. won't it?
About October, right?
October, yeah. I think I'm gonna buy a new this year
Yeah, it might
and just
ought
see
to.
if things, see how that goes for us.
And plant it in a
We'll
different
plant
spot.
it in a different spot and buy a new. Show them that in there.
I'm
That's a
gonna show
good
'em
one.
this one too. So here's another big one that was. It was weird when we got it up. Like we didn't think it was gonna be anything, but we gave it a chance. But look, ain't nothing there. And then you see what happened to that one. And we actually threw a lot out when we first got it up, but these are the ones we were questionable about. Another reason they're not in the house yet, because I didn't want no rotten garlic in the house.
I think that one's trying to grow. Look at where the tips is turning green.
Yeah, it'll do that. There's one. It ain't no count. Garlic should, which this one's not the best example because it's a little disturbed too, but you should be able to see individual cloves in that garlic. And it should be hard. And like I said, I mean, when it's hard like that, and it keeps excellent in the house.
And you can still replant it the next year.
Yeah,
Unless you get attacked by bugs like we did.
yeah. I'm gonna tell you what though, like, where you built those shelves like that,
Makes the perfect drying house, don't it?
Yeah, it's like, well, like my little peppers in there.
It's a oversized dehumidifier.
Dehumidified. Dehydrated?
Dehydrator, yeah.
That was pretty good. Hey, it works good though because right now, I mean, we have no use for it this time of year anyway.
Wasn't too bad.
No, we done pretty good. Got about 3/4 of a bucket full. So,
Yeah, they all look.
I mean, for as much as we had planted. But,
For as much as we had planted, that's not much at all.
No, but that's all
But
right.
that's more than we need.
Oh yeah, like that right there will be plenty for till next year. And like I said, I've got to go through that what I've got in the house, but I've still got some good garlic even from last year. It kept so well, probably because it was in the air condition. I don't know. All right, y'all, it's getting nearer to supper time, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut my roast up to high just for like the last hour. And I went ahead and peeled and cubed me up some pears for our pear pies. So what I'm gonna do, we're gonna sprinkle it with about a tablespoon of just plain old white sugar. We're also gonna throw in a little bit of cinnamon. That's just kind of to your taste. If you really like cinnamon, put quite a bit. If you don't like it that much, don't put that much. Go ahead and get that mixed up. And what that'll do, that'll make us a little juice in there too to go in our pies. Now I cut up my pears pretty little. I didn't want no huge chunks in there. And I'm just gonna sit this in the fridge for about 30 minutes and then we'll be ready to make our pies. All right guys, time to get our shells made for our little pear pies. So I make my fried pies a little different than you may have seen, or you may have seen it this way. I make like a biscuit dough, like I'm making homemade biscuits, and that's my pie dough. And actually, after I tried that a couple times, like me and Andy actually decided we like that better than the little pie shells. But you know, that's personal choice, but I'm gonna show y'all the way we enjoy eating them. So we're gonna need a cup of self-rising flour. Now, since this is going to be a dessert, we're going to put us a little sprinkle of sugar to give that crust just a little bit of sweetness. A tablespoon of lard. Now, that can be lard, Crisco, butter, you know, just some kind of grease here. And we're going to go ahead and work that in, like I said, just like we were making biscuits. That's what we're pretending right now. Just want to make sure it ain't no big chunks in there. There we go. We're going to pour in just enough milk to give us a workable dough here. So not too terribly sticky. We need just a tad more milk, just a tad. Now we're going to flour our countertop real good. Just the best we can here. Going to bring our little bit of dough out. We're going to work it a little bit till we get kind of a smooth ball. Flatten it and fold it. All right, so we got us a pretty smooth little ball there. Now we're gonna break out a rolling pin. We're gonna flour our rolling pin a little bit here. And we're gonna roll this right here about as flat as we can get it. Now y'all look over me. I don't use a rolling pin much, so I may not do this absolutely right, but I do make sure that it ain't like sticking. There we go. And now doing it this way right here, we're not gonna make too many little pies, but I have found to work in small batches when making these little fried pies, because once this stuff right here like gets too warm, it gets sloppy and it's hard to work and it's hard to get it to stick together. So when I'm making them, like I said, I do small batches. Seems to work better for me anyway. There we go. Now, that looks plumb good right there. All right, so before we cut out our little pie crust, we're gonna let this go ahead and be heating up with about a tablespoon of grease in there. It don't need a whole lot, and we'll add more if we need more. Now, I'm gonna take the bottom of my little saucer right here, and I'm gonna make me an outline for my pie sheet. All right. So let's go ahead and make our first one. Now you can see here our pears have made a nice syrup in there after that sugar dissolved. It looks really good. So we'll have those sitting here ready. We're gonna cut out a little pie crust here. Now I'm gonna lay it like this. Now it don't take but a little bit, just a very little bit in the middle of that. Because if you get it too full, it's gonna want to bust and everything else. So let's fold that over. We're going to take our fork. We're going to try to sew that together. It don't always work, but as far as keeping it together, but most time it does. We're going to make us a little hole right there. And in the grease it goes. And it don't take it but a second. Like as soon as that starts seeing that brown on the back side, we're going to flip it. Look at yonder go. Now, looky here. Bring it in close so you can see it. Now, don't pay attention to this ugly one back here. That was my leftover dough. So that made me that recipe that I gave y'all there, maybe about 5 little pies. I've got just a few pears left over that I had cut up, so I'm probably just going to eat those with supper tonight. But making fried pies is like that simple. And once I figured out this way versus making an actual pie crust, some people's good at making pie crust. I make pie crust for like apple pie. I'm not one that's good at them. I'm good at making biscuits. So now we'll set our dessert to the side, and I got to make our dipping sauce for our sandwiches. So guys, I did not hit the record button on my phone. So this is my dipping sauce. What it is about a tablespoon of butter, around 2 cups of my broth that my beef is cooking in, little onion and garlic powder, and some salt and pepper. That's all that's in there. We're going to let that cook a little bit. I ain't done that in a long time. Y'all are going to have to forgive me. But we're going to let this simmer about 10 minutes. Let it reduce a little bit. Let all those flavors come in together. And this will be perfect for dipping our sandwich. All right, I'm going to go ahead and fix me a sandwich. So I've got my dipping sauce here. I'll get me one of these buns out. Put me a couple pieces of provolone cheese on the bottom here. And we're gonna cut us a good piece of meat to go on there. The good thing about making your own sandwiches like this, you can put as much or as little meat on there as you want. This is so tender though. As long as my cheese goes ahead and melts, that ain't a bad looking sandwich. Got some leftover sweet potato chunks here that I made last night, so that's what we're gonna have with it. I thought that would go just fine together. There we go. This ain't a bad looking supper. That's something easy to throw together, you know. If you gotta work late or something like that, man, you just throw that in the crock pot in the morning. You're gonna have you some good sandwiches for that night. It's just a way to change up using a roast, because when you've got, when you get a cow done, you know, at a butcher, you do get several roasts, and if you're like me and Andy, you don't care for pot roast, well, you look for alternatives, and this is a darn good one. I'll get you a pie. These are the pear pies.
Them things are so good. You could eat enough of them to make you sick.
They are good. I've done taste tested one.
Have you?
Yeah.
But the crust is, in my opinion, is what makes them.
Yeah, that biscuity.
I think that crust is.
I'll show them the middle and see what. Show them kind of what it looks like. Anyways, guys, I hope y'all enjoyed today's video. Hope you might have learned a little something. And anyways, till we see y'all on the next one.
Have a good one.
Have a good one.